Good evening, everybody. The devil is here. Time to collect on the debts that y'all owe. But I am here for one more deal before I collect those. I'm here to do an Are You In? So, sit back, relax, and enjoy as we go over the newest album from Bella's Bartok, entitled Is Me the Monster? Now, something even scarier than that. I wouldn't be doing this barely without any notes. So who, may you ask, is Bella's Bartok? Well, they are a circus punk band from Amherst, Massachusetts, from my own backyard, from my college days. Yes. Members include Asher Putnam on lead vocals, Dan Niedenhauser on bass and vocals, Emery Drennan on trombone and vocals, Crisco on drums and percussion, Gershon Rosen on trumpet and vocals, Alex Kogut on accordion, keyboard and vocals, and Lucas Solorzano on guitars and vocals. They've had one previous album but many EPs, their only other album being Change Your Life. Now, we're talking about a very local band, a band that many of you probably have never heard about. One of those people in this band, Crisco, is one of my very old friends from college, and I have checked out this band before a year ago and loved their energy. It was to die for, if you will. Very upbeat. When you hear the idea of circus punk, it's perfectly an idea of what you're getting there. Very upbeat, very fast-paced songs, but also these beautiful trombone and trumpet lines, some very rhythmic bass parts, and some high-paced drums, as well as this sinister gypsy sound in the circus aspects. If you want to get an idea of something that this is aligned with, you can hear a little bit of Streetlight Manifesto in this band. You can also hear a little bit of Deer Hunter in this band, particularly one of the earlier songs on their Act 3 album. You also get a little bit of Aquarius from Hawken, that first album that had the more circus feel. You get a little bit of that in this album. So, listen to them for the first time, going to a concert, have been meaning to check out their work, and I finally have. I've taken some time from hashing out deals with Foolish Souls to listen to this album. And here's what I think of it. So, first thing that strikes me is, again, a lot of good energy on this album. You get a lot of fast-paced songs on here. Songs like Say No, the second song on the album. A lot of great energy, a lot of interesting ideas in the trombone and trumpet lines where they're on unison and they are playing these, at times, half-step approaches. So you'll get an idea in C minor, and this half-step approach there, and these interesting half-step lines going from one note to the next to the next. Then you also get a part in B flat, and it goes B flat B, B flat B, before going into the chorus that's in G flat major, E flat minor. A very, very nice song, a lot of really good energy, and one that stand out to me because of all the interesting ideas as well as the added parts from the rest of the band when they go to They Always Say No. Really cool song. You also get one like the Babadook. Ah, very scary sound indeed. It's a little bit more sinister than the previous song that I mentioned, and I really like the chorus on that song as well as the unison horn parts in the intro and the idea that comes up throughout most of the song. I think it's really, really cool. And again, another one of these ones that is a little bit more upbeat. You also get a song like Go Wild with an E on the end. Wondering if that's an Oscar Wilde reference. Who knows? Anyways, this song about debauchery in the age of properness is a lot of fun, a lot of really fun melody lines, and a lot of good emoting on this song. It's one that doesn't necessarily feel much different from the previous two that I've talked about, but the energy in the lyrics and the beginning where it's this more rubato and slow idea is really cool to me and makes it stand out a little bit differently from the other two. And you get songs that are a little bit similar, ones like Bones, that feels a little bit more of a, I would say, kind of a more Latin inspired song, especially at the end with the drum work and the trumpet solo at the end. But it stands out on its own compared to all the others. And again, that's not to say that there is songs that are just a little bit different from everything else that's going around. For example, the intro and outro songs, End of the World Part 1, which has this very flowing melody. This one being a great song to build the idea of this world. What I love about the first song, End of the World Part 1, is how it builds. It's this beautiful 3/4 folky ballad at the beginning, and it's a very legato melody line that keeps building and keeps adding harmonies, and as the song goes on you bring in the horn parts, and then it gets to the part where it's until I've had enough. Yeah, bet you didn't know that the devil could sing. Anyways, it's a really cool harmony at that part, and then it adds in those drum and horn parts that you're hearing throughout the rest of the album with this more circus punk feel. And the really cool thing is that idea comes back at the last song on the End of the World Part 2, where it keeps this theme going, and there's a lot of really good drum parts on here. I really like the triplet ideas that I hear on parts of this song, and I really like the ending of it. Come with me, walk with me, come with me, walk with me. Just really sinister. And the last line being talking about the mess that this person has made. I don't really know much about the story. There isn't a lot of lyrics online for here. There is a particular webpage I did not have the password for. So, Crisco or any of these people in this band, if you're watching this, thank you so much, of course. I'm glad that you can spend some time with the devil. And if you can, clue me in a little bit on this story. I feel like this is somewhat of a concept album, but I can't grasp my head around it just yet. So, if I do find out, I will make a further video explaining a little bit more of this. But I really like how that first and second part tie in very well. There's also Graveyard Funk number 2, which feels very tango-ish, and I really, really like a lot of that feel. It gives a little bit of a difference in sound on this album, and the who's that stepping on my grave, just that melody line is really, really cool. There's the chorus line that's really nice, and a lot of great drum work with a lot of activity comparatively to what is going on around it. The piano lines and the horn parts aren't as active, which gives Crisco a lot of time to be able to put a lot of really active drums, especially on the later half of that song. I also love the D flat and then dropping down to B flat in this verse idea. I will say the only thing I don't like as much are some of the pre-choruses. I don't find them as interesting, but that is just the opinion of the devil. We also have the Ballad of Lily and Billy Jack. It is another one of these that are a little bit slower and builds, albeit not as great as The End of the World Part 1. It's not a bad melody. It is a little bit more uplifting than some of the other stuff on this album. But to me, I still like End of the World Part 1 a little bit better. Life is this kind of rockabilly, if that's the right word for it. What I get from this feel is very Stray Cats-ish, but a little bit more sinister, a little bit more diminished on some of these parts. It's not the most interesting melody to me. I do like the jumps in the melody line, but it is one of the not as interesting songs comparatively to everything else. But the best song on this album is Mountain King. I love all of it. I think it's very interesting. It's the longest song on the album, being 6 minutes. And what I love about it is, for the most part, this song is in 7/4. And there's some very staccato horn parts, and it works well with the flowing drum lines. And it's just a really, really interesting melody, interesting theme. This is where Asher is singing a little bit on the lower side, and he does very well on it. It's very solid, it's very beautiful, and it contrasts very well with the chorus, which has some very interesting guitar lines. In terms of the ones that are most memorable to me, that is the most memorable song on the album, and one that I definitely go back to more often than everything else. I think Asher does very well on the vocals for the most part. He brings a lot of character into this band. This band is very energetic and very interesting, with a very interesting flair to them. And Asher brings a lot of great stuff to the vocals. Everyone dances on stage for the most part, other than the drummer, of course. The horn lines are great, the bass is great. Everyone does their job very well. I will say, in comparison to a lot of the other albums I've listened to this year, there's a lot of good stuff and a lot of good pacing. Where, say, we're talking about Say No, or we're talking about The Babadook, Go Wild, Bones, these songs that sound very similar in style are spaced out enough where you get enough difference throughout the album, which is great for pacing. Where you get End of the World Part 1, which is a little bit slower, then you get Say No, which is upbeat, then you got the Graveyard Funk number 2, which you get the tango-ish, and then you get back to a little bit more fast-paced. It always feels like there's a little bit of a difference. I'll say the only time where it's a little bit too close together is The Babadook and Bones. Ones that are right next to each other that feel a little bit the same. But pacing is great. I think it's a very interesting album. I really, really enjoyed my time with it. I don't think it's going to be for everybody, though. If you aren't into the idea of circus punk, if you're not into any ideas of the Streetlight Manifesto ideas, the Deer Hunter ideas, the Hawken First album ideas, the Stray Cat ideas, if you're not going to be into that, then you're not going to be into this band. But if anything of what I said sounds interesting to you, I would say give it a chance. I would definitely listen to it once. And that is my time. So I've completed my deal. And now you must do as well. So, you foolish souls who have been watching this video, there are a couple things that you must do for me. First off, if you like this video, give it a like. If you like the CD, give it a like. Tell me what you love and what you hate about this album. If you haven't already, click that button in the middle to subscribe to my channel. Share this with your friends. let them also become foolish souls who have wandered to this video. And most importantly, just keep on watching and keep on dealing. So, thank you so much. Hope you've had a spooky Halloween. And I will be back with another video. Till then, this has been the Devil, signing off.